The Democratic establishment is joining up with a lot of disparate groups in utterly freaking out for 2 days running over the fact that Andrew Cuomo lost the New York City Democratic mayoral primary to Zohran Mamdani. And a lot of people are frustrated by it. Perhaps nobody is more frustrated and at the same time more biased about it than his brother Chris. So we're gonna get to Chris Cuomo and what he thinks about that win, what he thinks about the state of the Democratic Party, what he thinks about progressives. But before we get to that, we do have a big piece of news, which is that, and this is different than yesterday, Andrew Cuomo apparently, at least as of right now, is not in fact going to be launching an independent bid to become the mayor of New York. And so now that's a good development. I want everyone to bear in mind that it would be strategic in the immediate aftermath of such an enthusiastic win by Mamdani and his supporters to say that you're not gonna run, and then you back off for a month and you allow the media and the Democratic establishment and the PACs to shred Zohran, and then you come in to save the Democrats or whatever. Now, I'm not saying that's what's gonna happen, but I would just say don't totally lower your shields. Andrew Cuomo is a pretty ambitious guy. I don't think we've necessarily seen the last of him. But that said, here is his brother to defend Andrew.
The Democratic Party is now officially in MAGA mode. We are now on both sides in a period of extremism. The same way MAGA played with the prejudices of white nationalism, you're seeing an identical dynamic on the left with prejudices like tacitly supporting extreme Islamism or targeting Jews. For the right, it's migrants. For the left, it's Jews. It's fundamentalist Christians dominating the right. It's fundamentalist Islamists making headway on the left. I know that doesn't sound like Democrats, but that party is dead.
No, it doesn't sound like Democrats. It doesn't also sound sane or connected to what's going on. So first of all, one of his comparisons was that he appears to acknowledge the MAGA movement is dominated by extremist Christians, which I would say is partly true. I don't think that's the worst part of the MAGA movement, but it is true. And then on the left, you have Islamists making headway. That's not the same thing. First of all, it's not even true. He's not an Islamist. He's not a radical. He's not a jihadist. God damn, could you stop for 5 seconds playing into that BS trope? But even if we accepted it, that's not parity. And think about how casually he both sides extremism. So you have the MAGA movement, which controls the White House, the Congress. It's now taken over the Supreme Court. You almost literally, there's like 5 Republicans in the country that have been elected that do not subscribe to everything that Donald Trump says. Like the Republican Party does not exist except for the MAGA movement. And then on the left, what do you have? You have AOC, you have Bernie, and maybe Zohran wins. He's not even in office yet. That's the same, right? That's the same. That's not the same at all, man. And then on the extremism, like you have migrants and you have Jews. No, you don't. No, that's not the same thing. You believing Zohran Mamdani being critical of Israel is not the same thing as Donald Trump in fact trampling people's due process, shredding the Constitution, setting up concentration camps, sending people to South Sudan, breaking up families, sending people to El Salvador. And then when the courts tell him you have to bring this guy back, Trump's like, what's that? I didn't hear anything. That is not in fact the same thing. There is no both sides thing. There's no whataboutism to be had there. There's no parity on the extremism. Donald Trump is shredding science. He's shutting down cabinet departments. He's taking away rights. He's handing trillions to billionaires, and Mamdani wants the buses to be free to use. That's not the same thing. It's just not. I know that you're very scared, and I'm not specifically just speaking to Chris Cuomo there, but to a lot of establishment Democrats that think, no, we have to keep doing what we've always done. We just have to try to run the most centrist Republican-like candidates, and most of the time it'll fail, but let's never deviate from that ever. And then we'll be fine. We'll be fine, except that you're not gonna be fine. And the issue is that it's not just Chris Cuomo. You have a lot of people trying to utterly baselessly demonize Zohran Mamdani. Sometimes when they do it, it's a little bit funny. So that's where we come to Sean Hannity, because his graphics department is back at it again. And that's always a good time because he has no capacity to understand what is actually scary. Like at least Chris Cuomo is inventing things. They're not inventing things. He's repeating things that like Laura Loomer has said or whatever. But like Sean Hannity's like, oh no, the extremism exposed, free abortion and contraception on demand. So first of all, you dummies, don't put those together. You're gonna scare people about contraception on demand? We've had contraception on demand for decades and decades. Why would that be scary? And free abortion, look, I literally don't even know if Zohran is actually pointing that out, but it is, if he is, it is healthcare. It is theoretically one of the most consequential things that can happen to a person who could become pregnant. So, if our healthcare is going to cover a lot of things, which I think it should, currently doesn't, a case can be made that that should be one of those. But saying that condoms, whenever you want them, is a reason to be scared of this guy, that's pretty funny. And then he's got this socialist promises, no cost childcare. Just to be clear, Sean, because you seem to fundamentally misunderstand some stuff about how America works. It's not no cost childcare. Can anyone in the audience explain where the cost comes from? It's the goddamn taxes you pay and have your entire life. You've already paid for it under this system. And I know that that's a wild idea, that you would pay in taxes your entire life and then get something for it. It is wild to Sean Hannity that that would happen to a peasant. No, that's not how it's supposed to work. You're supposed to be rich. You dodge your taxes and then you get paid back by the government. That's how it's actually supposed to work. Baby baskets to newborns. What could that possibly cost? Like 30 bucks? You're complaining about a gift basket now? That's what's gonna take down the American empire is, oh, we sent some wipes and a baby ducky stuffed animal. I don't think, is there a binky in there? Is the taxpayer having to spring for binkies now? The horror! And a $30 minimum wage. I will remind everyone, it is New York City. It's expensive to live there. And I believe, again, I'm sort of assuming here that the corporations in Manhattan want people to do those jobs. And so since we're not gonna be like private jetting people in from rural America where the cost of living is lower, you are actually going to have to pay people a living wage to be able to survive. That's actually how that works. So I would rate their current like plan to demonize Zohran is like a D-. This is not strong stuff. This is worse than how they tried to attack AOC as like, look at her dancing and stuff. I don't think you're actually gonna win people over with this.
If you enjoyed that, make sure that you never miss another video by subscribing. And if you want a little more, consider hitting the join button and becoming an actual member. But you're probably wondering, why the hell would I do that, John? First off, calm down. The stakes in this are very, very low. But also, when you click the join button and you become a member, you get access to bonus content that I make every week, and it's a ton of fun. You get access to tons of custom emojis and more besides that. By the way, if you join at tier 3, you even get access to a monthly member hangout with myself and other awesome people, and we always have a great time. By the way, you'll get all that going forward, but you also unlock years of the back catalog. That is literally 100 or more bonus clips, top 10 lists, debates, and more. What are you waiting for? Click the join button below. Your support powers our show, and we couldn't do it without you. Or at the very least, I wouldn't really want to try. Viewers like you keep me here. So thank you in advance for joining.